and welcome to Solving the World's Problems. I'm your host, Roman. Tonight, the world problem we are taking on is the undead. With me is my co-host, Steven. Our other co-host, John, is out this week. He may be coming undead himself. Special guest this week, we have Blair to Blair, my favorite wizard, Brandon, the anime guy, Shieldwall of Dragons, and our man from the north, world traveler, Zax.
Hello.
Welcome.
Unbelievable.
To the panel.
Hello,
everyone.
everybody.
How are you doing? Zax, you just got back from Zax is what am I looking at? What was that? What was that? Show me that again.
This is João. He is my one of my souvenirs from Portugal.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Nice
very
hat.
nice.
He's pretty awesome. So he's my new best friend, and he's going to sit here with me on some streams now because I couldn't get a mask because, well, Portugal doesn't do masks, and so I got this, and I got some swords, some Templar blades. So yeah.
Excellent. That's cool, dude, because that's the sign of our people.
It is universal language.
Everybody knows exactly what that means. How is everybody doing tonight? Steven, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm a little flabbergasted. I can't believe that this is the panel we've accumulated. Far be it from me to assume the power of vampires and zombies, but this is quite a panel we've gathered here.
Everybody likes the undead. Some of us know them personally. So Blair to Blair, how is it going? My favorite wizard.
I'm doing good. I'm excited about this topic. I love vampires. I love zombies. Put them together. What could go wrong?
You know, you can love vampires and zombies, but you shouldn't love vampires and zombies. Moving on. Zax, world traveler Zax, our man in Canada. How are you tonight, my brother?
I'm doing great. I love the topic. I've been a hardcore zombies fan for as long as I can remember until they made me study Night of the Living Dead in school, and I've been hooked on the Romero style since then, and moved on to I like 28 Days Later. There's a cool board game which I might go haul out to show you guys.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I'm a zombies fan. Vampires, of course, are cool. Played Vampire the Masquerade, all that stuff. Like the movies, like TV. These are this is a fantastic topic. I almost said something I shouldn't.
You can say literally anything on this show. That's the beauty of my show. You can say anything. Shieldwall of Dragons. How are you tonight, my friend?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Glad to be here.
That's brief, but I'll accept that. You'll accept that.
Well, I mean, I could go on and on for hours about zombies and vampires and everything, but
which we will do. We will definitely be going on.
This is going to be a hoot tonight. And Brandon, the anime guy, thank you for being here. How are you tonight?
Well, I'm doing all right, and I've got a few vampires and a few zombies that I have seen and do like. This particular topic isn't normally in my wheelhouse, so it's a little bit of a stretch, but I think I've got a few
even
that'll
in
fit.
the anime world, surely they have
vampires. Oh, there's tons.
Vampire
it's just
Hunter D. Do they have zombies over there? It's not my thing, so it's not my bag, baby.
Yeah, they do have a little bit of everything within their mysticism regarding the undead, so yeah, but the ones that I tend to cherish the most, I'll be bringing up and discussing. So
we have plenty to pick from tonight, and I'm excited about that. In our chat right now that I can find right off the bat, we got Jay the Deep Minded, Jacob Ironside. I'm surprised Nosferatu's not out here. Nos, really? I picked this for you, and you just leave me hanging here. And Thad, the Thad that shouldn't be, Unbearable 73 on YouTube. So we'll hop in here. And so we're looking at vampires, and this isn't going to be restricted to these categories, but on TV and in cinema. And same with zombies. So vampires versus zombies in these two arenas. And Nosferatu 1922 was the first big on-screen appearance. It was an unlicensed version of Dracula. They got sued for it as well, and they made them destroy most of the copies, and they were finally able to restore one in like 1994. And then, of course, Dracula, the film with Bela Lugosi in 1931, was based on the stage adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And those are the first big appearances in the vampire genre. In the zombie world, we had White Zombie in 1932, which is largely regarded as the first film in that one. And then, of course, the one that changed it all for the undead, George Romero's Night of the Living Dead in 1968. And that was a genre changer. That changed the way we looked at all of these things. So that's your starting point when we get going with this. So
yeah, and just a quick note, I wanted to say that zombies have been with us in popular American literature or Western literature since at least 1958. I am sure that there are legends of zombies, but I just had to go a little further and take a look. I can't believe that they say that that Night of the Living Dead in 1968 was the first appearance, because I know that to not be true.
It was the more modern version of the zombie.
Right, the
is what
cinematic.
they credit it as. The first film version was White Zombie back in the day in the 1930s. So,
nice.
Last Night on Earth.
I've heard of that.
Oh yeah, there are dozens of
Great board game.
Oh, it's a board game.
Yeah.
Really? It's a zombie board game?
Yeah, and I have the expansion
Sweet
too,
mother of God,
which is called Growing Hunger.
No.
It's awesome. These games are this game is fantastic. So if you can find it, you like board games and zombies, definitely pick this one up. It's like you have all the tropes and for the characters, it's well done.
Is it a traditional board game? Literally, like a cardboard board and pieces that move around through squares and such?
It's a bit of a hybrid because yes, it does have that.
Oh, he's getting it out. He's getting it out. He's getting it
yeah.
out. Oh,
If you want,
hang on.
want to.
Yeah, let's give him that full screen.
Yep.
All right. So yes,
Because
you have
I
the
could
board.
easily see a Victorian version of this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. You could get it. So you have the board game set up. So it's got you have a different board every time, or you can have a different board every time. All those
Oh,
pieces,
nice.
Setups with buildings and all that.
Oh my God.
And then you can search in each room. It's a little bit like yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but it's one of those ones where you build your own scenario, your own town, and then you start the game with the zombies. And you, depending on how good your characters are, it's how hard the game is going to be for you. There's pieces that you have to use, but then you can build the rest of the board around it. And there's also a mechanic to do it at random, so you don't pick. You get what you get to start the game, and it's cooperative. Cooperative game, and then you have your characters that can look like this.
Do they come pre-painted?
No, a buddy of mine did it for me. I can't paint like this. That's not focusing properly, but you get the idea.
You get the idea. That's superb.
So you have your game scenarios, and so that comes with how many turns you have to win that game. You pull these at random.
Burn them out.
Yeah,
I support this fully.
It's got the day track, and it's a fantastic, fun game. Good for a group of friends to play. Highly recommend it. And
how long does gameplay generally take, or would you think gameplay takes with that?
60 to 90 minutes.
Okay, so you're not committed. It's not like you're playing Risk and you could be there for 7 days.
No, I mean maybe the first couple times it's a bit. It takes a bit longer, but you'll find items and powers, so things like faith, which you can then use to kill zombies with.
Wow,
it's
man.
really a complex game, but it isn't hard to learn. Yeah, and you can draw your characters randomly if you want to, because everyone has different abilities, or you can choose It's up to you how you want to do it. And that is the hero deck. You get things like a lighter, which you'll need if you want to use things like dynamite.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Well, who doesn't
So-
want to use dynamite?
Really cool, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
happy
feel-
to show it off.
Man, I feel like part of my life has been missing now because I have nerd friends. Well, the problem is you're all in like other parts of the world. Oh, I love it. He's got a shotgun. He's got a handgun. The
That's a
classic zombie hunter.
It looked like Indiana Jones.
He does, yeah, he does look like Indiana Jones. Yeah, so that's. I wish I could play it with you guys. Honestly, that'd be awesome.
That would it would. We need to plan a trip to central location somewhere in North America to play
Yes,
the zombie game with Zax.
there you go. Sorry for taking
That's
over your
cool,
show, but
dude.
I'm just excited.
No,
to share
that's
it.
awesome.
No,
That's awesome.
That is an awesome share. It's perfect for this weird little world that we are in right now.
Yeah, true.
Hey, better that than the Ouija board for Halloween.
Whoa, 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 whoa! I don't need that little bastard behind me coming actually to life, because then it actually does get weird. So,
Yep, we got
I'm sorry.
Thad.
I got
giving us
lost.
the
I got lost
facts.
in Thad's comment here. Yep, Thad with the facts. He is our man with the knowledge. Magical creatures, curse of flesh, eating, contagious. Concluded with Romero's light of the end. Okay. It was kind of an evolution of the zombie, I guess, genre into
Yeah.
what it became.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in vampires, we started off with in film anyway, with this attractive feller. This has always been a very terrifying image to me. The Nosferatu version of the vampire. It's just so unnerving. And it's also, I mean, this is also very similar to the one you get in Salem's Lot, the 1978 version. So has anybody, I'm sure most of us have actually sat and watched this version of the film.
Yes.
I've seen clips of it, but not like the whole thing front to back.
It's unnerving. Actually, what's almost more unnerving is the film Shadow of the Vampire with Willem Dafoe, in which he
Really good.
plays Max Schreck, and it turns out that the guy playing Count Olaf is actually a vampire, and it was a really cool film, very different film, but definitely worth checking out. And I think, I mean, this was the world's first real exposure. I mean, aside from the novel of Dracula, which was, an incredibly popular book in its age. Yeah, that was like the bestseller of the day. But you just
Back
didn't
in
have.
Back in
Please.
the 1800s, they had a thing called Varney the Vampire, which is kind of like a comic strip type thing.
I remember Varney the Vampire.
And then
I
Lord
wasn't
Byron,
there. I just in case you're curious.
and what's his name, Dr. Poriarty, he wrote an actual story called The Vampire. It was based on Lord Byron. Lord Byron was the vampire.
Oh, that's
But-
funny.
That was the same time when Mary Shelley wrote Prometheus Unbound, which was Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
So two of your biggest horror icons came at the same time there in the 1830s or so.
That's what she said.
40s.
Oh, I'm actually waiting for my Frankenstein collection to show up in the mail tonight. I ordered it's Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, Ghost of Frankenstein. Frankenstein goes to college. That's a joke. Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein.
Yep.
The Wolfman meets Frank. All of them all in one collection. So I'm pretty excited that's going to be coming in the mail today, and I'll probably be watching that tonight after the show.
Good.
Oh, did you have it?
Yep. I got that big 4K case that has all the. I had
Yes.
the old DVD collections too, but then I got the 4K one. All the vampire movies were there.
I saw it yesterday. I was like, I cannot not get this. So
Mm-hmm.
and then we of course had Dracula.
Right.
This is where most people think of, like I said kind of in the promo for the show, vampires come in a couple different forms. There's the kind of sexy version, which was the Bela Lugosi version, and then there's the Nosferatu 30 Days of Night version. And what I liked about the 30 Days of Night version versus this one is some of them are in control and others are just kind of like feeders.
Right. Yeah. And we have the novels of Anne Rice. Anne Rice that kind of get into the definitions a little bit more. I mean, granted, she's tapping into our lore as a human race, but she talks about the difference between conscious vampires and feeders that have been left with no mentality but to feed every single night.
And they are the unsexy vampires, in case anybody is curious. And 30 Days of Night, I mean, for me was that, and we'll get to that kind of whenever we get to that. That was the one for me. That's probably one of my favorite vampire movies. Just the way everything is presented in that. And I mean, and the vampire genre is just so different from the zombie genre. Zombies, whole different critter. Although it is curious that the first zombie film that was a popular zombie film should have starred the same man who was in Dracula. And I guess that was just, it's all timing. Everything's timing. You had Bela Lugosi in White Zombie.
Well, what people would say too about the two genres is that zombies are almost a setting as opposed to the monster, whereas the vampires generally not the setting. He is like the adversary usually. The zombie is just usually it applies pressure into the situation for the most part.
Well, I would say especially in modern lore, Zax, where when you're talking The Walking Dead, the zombie is the background. That's the environment. That's the world they live in. Whereas the vampire is a character, and as you said, the adversary, an actual opponent, as opposed to the thing to be overcome. The great.
Right. Where does Frankenstein fill in? Is that a resurrected person, or is it a zombie? Is he really undead, or is he alive?
I don't think I'm going on a limb here, and this is Roman's interpretation of the undead. For those of you who are curious, vampires and zombies have a thing in common, and that thing is that they don't have a soul because they're dead. When you're dead, you don't have a soul anymore. That's the way it works. A vampire is a more conscious version of an undead, and it doesn't corrupt. Whereas the zombie is just kind of a walking around meat sack that eats whatever. And not always people, just kind of literally whatever it eats. It's that whatever in the brain decides it needs to keep feeding. Although you have the different versions of the zombies where you have smarter ones, not like zombie smart or vampire smart. Although you have had films where that's happened. I don't really prefer those zombies myself.
One could say that the vampire is an individual force, and that the zombie is a collected force, a collective, a hive. Yeah.
But to get to you, Blair, with the Frankenstein thing, he's like a smart, I want to say zombie, but because he's not a vampire, but he's, I mean, I don't know who help me. Everyone help me.
Well,
but also soulless because he's dead.
I've heard Frankenstein and the original novel by Mary Shelley to be a consideration of the android. One could say that he's closer to a replicant from the Blade Runner universe than he is to any of these undead creatures. He's a resubstantiated former human being. An artificial intelligence created by man.
But made of man.
Right. Made of man. In much the same, that's why I mentioned the replicants, because they are biomechanical androids. There's nothing mechanical about them. They're bio. And Frankenstein is a part of that. He is a resurrected human being.
Alive. Well,
a Lazarus, so to speak.
Back
Yeah,
from the
okay.
dead. I mean, because he's created from dead
Right.
parts. So that is correct in the technicality here. Yes, he is alive.
If
But
if
wasn't.
you use other fantasy settings like D&D, something like Frankenstein is technically a flesh golem, and a golem is something that a person creates and animates magically, like can be a statue or made out of stone or iron or
Yeah.
whatever. But Frankenstein would be a flesh golem. You stitch together a bunch of parts, and then you used magic, i.e., in the time of Shelley,
Yeah.
it was electricity. They were
Mhm.
extremely interested in that. They thought it could reanimate stuff because in the experiments they were doing, they could put an electrical charge to a piece of animal meat, like a dog or something, and it would cause it to flex. So they thought, oh, we're bringing it back to life somehow. Because they
Yeah.
didn't understand that, nervous system is electrically controlled. So
Yeah. I think the initial
Yeah.
experiment was a frog's leg
Yeah. They could make it
right.
twitch.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah, you use a simple battery or whatever they used to generate electricity, and you put a charge on it, and they noticed it made it move. She knew about that, so she was interested in it, and that's why she wrote that way. Right. So they're using air quotes magic to reanimate this body, which you get in a weird thing because you're kind of doing that with zombies and even vampires sometimes, depending on what genre you're in and whatever. But
Right.
that's how I see Frankenstein, as he's a flesh golem. He's
Yeah.
not a
And
zombie.
I think that another major difference between Frankenstein and both of these undead creatures is that they are possessed by something, and Frankenstein is not. He's reanimated.
He's just a dude trying to be dead. Someone wakes him up.
And the key thing about Frankenstein, at least in the later versions, is that the reason he is the way he is he got a defective brain. If he would have had a regular brain, he would have been like a normal person that could reason and get their point across. But what makes him a monster is A, he's reanimated, B, he's so big, and he has low intelligence, so he can't express himself.
So kind of like an NFL player. I'm sorry, that was not kind.
And
Well,
and-
maybe
and-
he's-
In the novel, he is quite substantially intelligent. As a matter of fact,
Yes.
he
Yeah,
winds up
but- yeah,
becoming
they
as
dumbed him down for
intelligent
the
as
movies.
the
Yeah.
doctor.
Yeah. He's
Now
very
they did
chatty in the novel.
they did the modern
Mhm.
version of this.
Yeah, I think it was
The
it
Bride.
Kenneth Branagh.
Sorry, let me pull that off. The Bride. I actually did that, and that was with Kenneth Branagh and Robert De Niro.
De Niro as the monster,
And
which is
Helen Bonham
uncanny.
Carter, who I almost always love. I didn't love that movie though, but that
Yeah, that aside,
So let's go around the horn here real fast. What of the two? What is your favorite of the genres, Steven? Is it vampires? Is it zombies?
I've never been a fan of the zombie genre. I've always been a fan of these supernatural individual beings. I'm definitely going to have to go with the vampire because
So
the
you're team
lore
vampire.
is much more interesting to me. Zombie, like Zach said, is more of an environment, and it's much more about like in The Road, it's almost a substantiation of what is civilization and how do we keep it in this world.
Oh man,
Yeah.
The Road. Don't
The
get me started
Road.
on that.
that book,
Lord,
cool.
that's a conversation.
Same author
Not-
as
not-
I Am
not
Legend
feel good.
too, isn't it?
No. The Road was
I thought it was
help
Masterson.
me.
Cormac
No.
McCarthy.
Cormac
Oh,
McCarthy,
sorry.
yes.
Go ahead. Yes.
Same author
Yeah.
as No Country for Old Men.
There you go. That's what it was.
But again, he writes very down kind of stuff. So Zax, your
Yeah.
favorite of the undead.
I guess I would have to. I'm going to agree with Steven on I think vampires is more flexible, and I think that you can tell a lot more stories using vampires, and especially like I played the Vampire the Masquerade role playing game way back in the day, and there was a TV show called Kindred the Embrace that was based on that.
Oh,
And
I
they
remember that.
Yeah, and it got canceled too soon because the main actor died. I think after season
Oh.
1.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yep.
I could be wrong on some of that stuff, but it did a good job, I thought, of really showing how that society could function within our society, and that was sort of the focus of the show and of the role playing game. Now the game has since gone super over the top woke, so I think a lot of people don't play it anymore. I don't, but I like that.
Reminded me of a
you can-
movie with Ethan Hawke, I think, and Sam Neill.
Daybreakers.
Is that new?
No, well,
not-
new with quotes.
yeah.
Here, let me find that. I was going to pull something else up, but I'm going
It's
to
in
find
the
that
2000s.
because that was
It's
that was a weird movie, but I thought it was really interesting. Oops,
It
if I
was
use the right
2009.
keyboard, it helps.
2009.
Oh, okay, so that's not even. That's
Yeah.
not new at all. But you could really do almost like a mafia style storyline with vampires. With zombies, you can just kind of do the one thing, either they're fast or not, and that's it.
Yeah, I think the most extraordinary vampire show that I ever saw was, and this was right around the same time that Buffy was happening, was a Canadian TV show called Forever Night.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
and there is a night radio personality who turns out to be a vampire and the hero of the story as well.
Lacroix.
Yeah. So it really has some flexibility. There's some substantial legs on the vampire character because it's an individual.
Right.
But let's continue
So-
to go around the panel.
Blair to Blair.
I'm team vampire as well, just because of the variety. You know, you can have your sexy vampire like Lestat, or you can just have a horrific leech thing come at you. Zombies I really do like because they've come, you know, in the 21st century, zombies have really become a big deal. You know, because of Walking Dead and all the spin-off movies and such.
Right.
I like it, but they have a shelf life. They're not going to live forever, you know, or walk forever. They're eventually going to break down. You know, there is something pretty scary to see a wall of millions of dead things coming at you. But I like the vampire. It's a little more fun. The lore and, you know, that kind of thing.
Well, they're certainly more sexy, and they're probably a lot more talkative. Shieldwall, what do you got, buddy?
Well, I'm a little conflicted on this because I like them both, but the way I break it down is I'd rather be a vampire than a zombie.
Yes,
personally.
That's
And
actually true. Yeah.
Secondly, I think that both of them speak to different things internally and externally to us. I feel like the reason zombies are popular, especially in the modern era, is their mass horde. They represent your inability as a person to react to all the people around you doing dumb stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're watching civilization crash around you because people are basically mindless.
Yeah.
And you, there's nothing you can do about it except fight the horde. Whereas vampires are more, you get seduced into it. You know, they have that whole law. If you invite them into your house, now they have power over you. But if you don't, they can't enter, depending on what, you know, genre you're from. But I probably, it's a tough one. I mean, I like Blade. That's probably my favorite vampire movie. I know that might be a little, you know, but I
No,
like it.
that works.
And
Oh, yeah.
I love the Night of the Living Dead. Like even the 2004 kind of remake one of the 70s one was pretty good. Another, well, I'll get into it later when we talk more about vampires. But yeah, I guess I got to go with vampire. It just basically edges it out.
Fair enough. Yeah. And Brandon, the anime guy.
Well,
Your
as I
favorite
said,
of
this is typically not my everyday thing, but I have seen, and Blade was one of my first DVDs that I ever saw and never bought. I've seen 28 Days Later. I've seen Queen of the Damned. I've seen, better or worse, Van Helsing. I've seen a bit of everything, but I have to go with vampires. All those reasons. Plus, let's face it, my avatar is that of Mr. Alucard and myself combined into one. Helsing Ultimate is by far my favorite piece of a mini series, I guess you could say, 10 episode OVA. And as far as a movie goes, with vampires, Vampire Hunter D and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. And for that matter, the mangaka for all of them. They're just absolutely fantastic.
Indeed. And I'd like to back that up in saying that the Japanese have taken on the vampire lore with a passion, and there are multiple anime shows, some of them still running, that include vampires as part of the lore, basically embracing this Western concept because they have their own concepts about the undead, and yet they've gone away and made their own. And I will agree with Brandon. Hellsing is probably the most well-conceived incarnation of a vampire I've ever witnessed on screen.
Wasn't there a show, a Tokyo Vampire Hotel or something like that on Netflix?
Yeah, I could bring up a list. I'm sure it's going to be epic, but I'll take a quick look into some anime titles.
Well, I've got one title for you that if you like the female variety of the vampires, High School DxD will satisfy that.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So since we're in the vampire genre, I'm going to ask everybody their favorite vampire film. Zach, I know you're under more of a time crunch than everybody else. I'm going to start with you on this.
You're muted. Zach.
Muted, Zach.
There you go. Am I back? Can you hear me?
There you go.
Okay, there you go. All right.
What is your favorite vampire movie?
What's your favorite vampire?
Oh, Blade.
Blade.
Sorry, I thought, Blade.
Oh, straight up Blade. Okay.
Yeah, Blade. Blade 1. Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people are a big fan of the Blade, at least 1 and 2. 3, I actually didn't mind 3. I know that it's definitely the weakest of the bunch, but I think it's still a fun movie.
It's still Blade.
Especially in an era of less fun kind of films.
Yeah.
Well, that and I think you've probably all heard that Blade, the new Blade, damn you, Marvel, it has been
shifted show
down the road. Like been a complete production nightmare.
They're gonna start from scratch, new director, new story, everything. It's just
I really loved this movie as well. It combines so many fun elements.
The second one was good too. I like what Del Toro directed the second one. I think am I wrong about? I think I'm right about that. And his style of vampires was different too. Like they had the whole evolution of the opening up the jaw.
Things I love that one. That one was like really creepy because they were not good looking gentlemen.
No,
you're not getting seduced by one of those guys.
No.
Oh, I have a lot to say about that.
But also 30 Days of Night was awesome. I thought 30 Days of Night as a modern vampire is so good.
And so let me pull up one of those clever. I left the thing up like a fucking idiot because that's what I am.
30 Days of Night. He specifically made his vampires like that to be a counter for Anne Rice's Lestat vampire, where they're all sexy and suave. He wanted big
difference.
Leech with legs, just
IMDb
drinking people.
A little bit.
Interview with the Vampire.
There we go. Really this is the one I want to show everybody because this is not sexy. This does not make you want to go, I want to be one of those guys. No. This was a mutation. And man, were they were hideous.
Yeah, you could almost do the Arnold Schwarzenegger quote because I'm sure he would agree that this guy is like the Predator of vampires with the open mouth thing going on. It's
you are an unattractive creature, and yikes. Yeah. So I get the Ghibli's just looking at that guy. That as an adult, that thing freaked me out. Which to be fair, I got the frog behind me, but that guy's scary. So let's jump up Blair to Blair. What is your favorite of the vampire films?
Near Dark.
Near Dark.
Have you ever?
That's a good one. Yeah.
That was directed by Catherine Bigelow.
Damn my keyboards.
And it's got Bill Paxton. She was married to Cameron at the time. So she got a bunch of people from Aliens to be in the movie. The guy who played Bishop. I can't remember his name. I'm blanking out right now.
Oh my God.
We all know who he is. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, Lance Henry.
And Janique Goldstein.
He was.
They
Like,
don't
he was
have
the best
fangs.
B-movie actor in that era.
Yeah, they don't have fangs. They're highly allergic to sunlight, but they can take. The only way they were able to kill them was either sunlight or they just blew them up totally. Oh yeah, that's it. That bar scene was one of the best vampire scenes, other than like Blade. And it's so
I
creepy
think
because
Lance
it's so
Henriksen may have had
raw.
some kind of eating disorder. He was not a healthy looking fella. Oh, is this the car?
Mm-hmm.
Because the car had all the foil on
Yes.
the windows and everything.
And they drive around like welding goggles and stuff on, and yeah, but that was fun. They made it like they were evil and they knew it. They just loved being evil too.
Yeah, they just didn't give a fuck. That was the beauty
Yeah.
of it. It's like,
Yeah.
all right.
It was great.
So
But like I
many
said, they had no
Go ahead, please.
But
Go
like
ahead,
they had no feigns. It wasn't supernatural based. Although the backstory that he came up with was he was a Confederate sailor. He mentions that in the war he was on the losing side. Somehow he was cursed by these sirens to become this thing.
As a sailor, I can tell you, sirens are a problem.
The worst. Just the worst.
I apologize.
But there are no crosses. There was none of the religious stuff. It was basically they were like, some type of almost like a subspecies of vampire, which, but it was a really good movie.
And I'm sure I can't be the only one that actually read all of the Anne Rice novels.
I read most.
Back in the day. At least I read most of them. I think I stopped at a certain point because she kept writing, and I was like, "You're not done yet, fuck."
Well, she's dead
Money.
now, so
That's
Yeah.
what she said.
Or is she? But the Vampire Lestat's Interview with the Vampire, Queen of the Dams, those books were all fun back in the day. I mean, they may have been even though they may have been a bit chick oriented, they were not the sparkly vampires of Twilight.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. They were still traditional vampires.
Sparkly.
Hello. I'm sorry. Don't cancel me.
And they weren't vegan vampires either. So
What would you call a vegan vampire? Oh, dead, I believe.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Shieldwall, over to you. Your favorite of the vampire films, my friend.
All right, so Blade won, but very close second is Life Force from 1985. They were like,
Oh my god, I
space-
forgot about that movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
space
that movie's so
space
good.
vampires. I was so mesmerized
Space
by that movie.
Oh, remember the
Yeah.
trailers for that were so creepy.
And it's set in London, so it's not how it happens.
Man, that's a good one.
And as a teenage boy, the female
There's a
vampire,
naked chick that walks
yes.
around the entire movie.
that may have drawn my eye to the movie a little bit, but the story was good and how they functioned thematically was great.
Space
Yeah, this was a
vampires.
very different kind of thing.
Right. And
That was a good one. Yeah.
so technically they're aliens, but yeah, and they would suck your life force and then you would husk up and become a husk. And you wouldn't like walk around undead or anything. You just die, your corpse would just fall.
Like
Yeah,
this
like
attractive fellow.
Yep. Yeah.
You would explode, turn into dust.
Holy crap.
He looks more like our second category, being zombies.
So and that was the thing, is it how they transmitted is they had to be close to you. But when they did it, it put off like this electrical light. So they had shots of the city where all you could see were these flashes where
Yeah.
people were turning into these vampires and then they were feeding on other people and it was spreading through crowds, much like in 28 Days Later or whatever. Well, when infected would get into a group of people and bite one person, it would start to like move like a wave throughout them. People are trying to run away and you really couldn't kill them. And then there was a whole subplot about how you could kill them. And so it was interesting.
Everybody in this picture looks entirely British.
That's
Yeah.
because they are.
They are. It was very British. There you go.
Yeah, that
it
thing,
was-
whatever
it was-
that device was.
It was
Uh,
a iron stake below
no.
the heart, in like the chakra of the life force.
I must
thing.
stab you in your pancreas.
Well, because it had another backstory where they had visited Earth before and they were defeated, or the key to their defeat was from that earlier visit. So that thing was like in a museum or something, and had lore to. Yeah, that's her. But yeah, well, you can
Except
see.
naked. Except
Yeah, well,
naked.
you can see in this picture why I was interested in her. The way
God,
the
she looks like
shadows
Alyssa Milano.
are, kinda.
Now this poster was like the shit though. The eye just coming down on the earth. That was like the promo for the film, and I mean that's all you saw really in the lead up. So let me pull this off for a second. Work with me, system. Zax, you got to go because you got your coming back from Zax's World Tour show coming up here in a couple minutes.
I
So
do.
thanks for hanging out with us for a little while. I really appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks, guys. This
Yeah,
has
it's
been
good to
great.
see you.
Yeah, I
Good.
got to be on a stream with Zax. My
Oh,
late-
Yeah, no.
Don't
Moving up
start
in
with
the
that
world.
stuff. Wrong, man. No. I got to be in a stream with you guys, so thank you so much. Sorry for being having to cut it short, but yeah. I
No.
gotta go do
You
my
got
prep,
your
so.
thing, and so next
That's
time
right.
you
Duty
have
calls.
30 hours to kill, and you want to talk about the undead, just you know where we are. We'll
Yeah.
probably still be here, in fact.
One more thing I want to show before I go. This is my imported box set of Dawn of the Dead from. So it has all the versions of the film, including extra special features. It's quite a thing. So
Nice.
it's one of my favorite movies of all
wow.
time. So yeah, it's got the European version. It has with a different soundtrack. One does by the Goblins.
Oh yeah,
they-
I heard of them.
yeah, and
Oh,
there's there's a version with boobs. Then there's a version with more boobs. So
I didn't know
Yeah.
any of these
Nice, yeah.
existed. I'm actually mildly aroused now. See, remember when I
God.
said you shouldn't love your zombies? I may have been wrong. I may have been wrong.
So I'm thinking what I might do is maybe this weekend I might do a late night watch party.
Watch party.
Yeah, of one of these. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. And if you're interested, I'd love to have you come out and hang out and
Oh, baby.
watch a zombie movie with me.
Great.
Okay.
Please
Awesome.
drop a link in all of the DM groups, please. That'd be awesome.
Better believe
Right
I will.
on. Cool.
Nosferatu
Well,
showed
thank
up.
You, Zax.
Thanks,
I
guys.
did Nosferatu.
Just in
See,
time,
Zach.
Nos.
Really, buddy?
Have a good one, Zax.
Peace out. And not Nosferatu is immediately threatening me with, if you aren't Team Vampire, I'll take it personally. And yes, from the what would you in the world of what would you rather be? Definitely the vampire. The vampire is the more, I think, interesting of the characters. What I do like about
Yeah.
zombies, because I don't want to leave them out, because this is about you too, zombies. I'm talking to you. Is that they are generally, and I have to say generally, more of an apocalyptical story, and I find those fascinating. That whole literally end of the world kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But the vampire, like I said, on a one-on-one is far more interesting to watch, because the vampire is going to talk to you. The other guy's just going to try to eat you immediately for no, that's because that's what he does. That's all they're doing. They're a walking around eating machine.
Well, let's finish up with this question. I
Yeah,
think
I'm sorry.
Brandon was last to go.
Brandon, I hit up.
Yeah, we just
Shieldwall.
finished up with Shieldwall with Life Force.
I think. Are you the last one? You may be the last one.
I think I am the last one for the vampires.
I haven't answered the question, but guests
There
are
we go.
always first.
Oh.
So
Well,
did
go
we
ahead,
get
Brandon.
Did we get everybody, or did everybody answer that question with the vampires?
Brandon still has to go, and so do I.
I thought Brandon, did you hit this up, or did you not hit this up? You'll have to forgive me.
I don't believe so, but as
I
far
don't think
as
you did either.
excuse me, as far as shows go, that's vampire based. Blade holds a special place in my heart. Came out when I was,
Okay.
18.
Right.
But as far as what holds me today, it's Helsing Ultimate. There's not even a close second. In fact, I have a fan-made trailer available if you would like to show it.
Yeah, yeah. So I shouldn't get blocked on this, right?
No, you shouldn't get
Okay.
blocked on this.
Because YouTube, I know how much you
YouTube-
hate me, and every
Yeah.
time I show something, so let me bring it
Yeah,
up here.
tell me about it. YouTube can be the cruel mistress. That is.
You must cut out this point to this point of your show.
So here we go. Let's see. Volume's good. All right. Here we go. It's been approved for anyone that wants to watch it, I guess.
Nice.
My friends, it has often been said that I like war.
And actually, I'm going to clarify this a bit. This is the primary good guy-ish is a vampire, but this also has a lot of zombie-esque type creatures in it too. So this covers both bases.
Indeed. Yeah, I think the lores are connected.
Yes. But back up just a smidge. There we go.
Friends, I love war.
My favorite speech of all time.
Oh yes. The speech of the Major, the insane one.
I love it. Love it to pieces.
For over a century, the Helsing organization has served the British Empire, fighting a secret war against the forces of darkness. The vampire in particular.
Shall I destroy them? Wipe them from the earth? Grind them to dust? Just give the word, my master. Sir Integra Helsing.
And from this point forward, all hell breaks loose.
Give me your orders!
Search and destroy! Run them down!
My master. It shall be done.
How long have I waited for this day?
It's him!
What in the hell are you?
Do not let any of them leave the island alive!
I haven't had this much fun in ages.
Let's bring them hell.
Here standeth the bird of Hermes, eating mine own wings. To keep myself tame.
Holy crap!
Ah, good
Oh,
lord.
yes.
I love anime so much.
Oh, I don't know about
I'm
you
actually
guys, but
mildly aroused from seeing that. I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with that property. Remember tomorrow, if it's absent from the stream, YouTube. But man, that was awesome. That's Helsing anime.
Yeah.
that is
I'm
Helsing
sure I can
Ultimate.
find that
Yeah.
somewhere in my limited realm of worlds to rent or purchase.
Well, here's what I can tell you. It should be on Hulu because Funimation Crunchyroll has it. So there's your first
Okay.
place. Second, you can purchase it from Walmart or Amazon. Typically, this particular one is about $50 for all 10 episodes together.
Oh,
And
is it okay? So it's one of those guys. Got it.
Yeah. So each episode is 50 to 55 minutes. I think one of them is a little shorter than that.
Wow.
But
Yeah, it's
the
a
first,
substantial story.
yeah,
Okay.
the manga,
Okay.
the manga that it's based off of ran from May of 97 to September of 2008 and is in a Tankobon 10-volume collection. And you can purchase the complete collection from Amazon. They do sell it. And the nice part about Hellsing Ultimate is it is a full-on of the manga, whereas the original Hellsing TV series, the first 7 episodes or so were, but then the rest were not. So this is one of those that's well worth the read and well worth the watch. And I actually had been doing some anime guy theater, and we've gone through the first 4 episodes of this. And this the Hellsing Ultimate one was done over the course of 6 years with 3 studios. So the first studio had it for 4 episodes, and if I remember correctly, that was Madhouse. And I can't remember who the other 2 are off the top of my mind, but they worked very hard to make sure that it all looked the same, and it paid off. It's one of those. It's a shorter series compared to some other stuff, both in the mangaka and in the anime sense. But it has steadily climbed the ladder over the years.
It's worth it. That's the beauty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because not many things are worth that amount of time of your life. Remember Game of Thrones, how you fucked us in the last 2 seasons, and we'd already given you 6 seasons worth of our lives. And then you just decided, gotcha, and shoved a knife right into our kidney and then twisted it. And then we wept quietly like the Indian in the garbage commercial. So that's how I feel about something that is, if I'm going to spend 10 hours watching it, I need it to be that good.
That is the creator that shall not be named.
The show Hellsing Ultimate, when it first appeared in my life, there was only the first handful of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that when the box set finally came out as a completed show, it was well worth, what was it, Brandon? Nearly a decade we were waiting for them to finish it?
Long
Holy
time.
crap.
Very long time.
It was well worth every single year
Zoinks.
it took them to make it. It was so good. The conclusion was so on point and so gratifying as well. All the questions were answered. Everything came to fruition. Everybody got what they deserved. It was awesome.
That
Totally
it was
awesome.
And if you'll share my screen real quick, I'll show you what the hardbound of this book looks like.
Oh.
Kota Hirano is the author of this, and this is the hardbound edition of it. And the nice part is the panels that you're seeing, they are in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. So they go in that kind of direction with that. That's fantastic.
But as you can see, just this first volume is that much. So this is not a cheap one to collect, but it's so worth it.
Is that leather bound?
I believe that is a leather bound one, yeah. Let's see. Hardcover. Let's see. First time in its original 7x10 serialized format. The deluxe hardcover comes with embossed casing, sewn binding, and ribbon marker.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not a cheap one, but I do think they have a complete box set, but it's like 250, 300 bucks or something like that.
Yeah.
When you did that, the trailer, you know, his speech in the beginning reminded me of my favorite vampire speech. It was Russell Edgington from True Blood. We took over the newscast. He punched out the newscaster's spine, then took over talking about how we don't want to live with you. We want to eat you. We want to eat your children. And then he very gleefully turned around and says, and now let's go to the weather. Tiffany?
Hold a Mike Tyson moment. We're going to eat your children.
And then America's freaking out because the 6,000-year-old vampire just wasted a couple of people on live TV, and it was hilarious.
That show. That was another one of those. But I'm going to finish this off by saying that I don't have a favorite vampire movie. There are far too many of them that are so awesome. But I will make an honorable mention as to what I think was the most curious recent vampire film to come to the screen, and that is 2008's Let the Right One In.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody who hasn't seen it should give it a watch. If you're curious about the vampire
movie deals with a lot of different topics.
Indeed. Indeed, it
And
does.
it's a fairly deep concept film. It's a movie about vampires that isn't about vampires.
Yeah, pretty much. And yet it attaches moments to the lore. For example,
There you go.
the young vampire is asking permission to come into a young kid's apartment. And he's playing with her, not believing that she's a legitimate vampire, and says,
Right.
what's the problem? Is there an invisible barrier? What's keeping you from coming in anyway? Why do you need permission? And so on and so forth. And she decides to come in anyway, and we actually get to witness what happens to a vampire when they're not invited in. So just that moment alone is worth the viewing of this piece.
Oh, so
It's the relationship between the vampire and almost like the companion.
in this movie, they can go in. It's just there's ramifications for doing it uninvited.
Yeah, there are dangerous physiological ramifications for the vampire if they go in without permission.
Right. I thought in other genres, movies, whatever, it was physically impossible for them to do so. Like there was a force field there or something.
Like I said,
Well,
the
I mean,
lore
they probably-
on vampires
they play
is
with
so
all these
rich. Yeah, indeed. But so that's my honorable mention.
That's a good one.
You know,
Well, remember, it's
Brandon
also
pretty much
based
covered
on,
the best vampire movie ever.
I think that's based on it's a Swedish or Norwegian film.
Yes.
That is the original one, and then there's an American version of it as well.
Yeah,
Oh.
this was during the same time period as the dragon tattoo, the girl with the dragon tattoo. That's when we got a lot of these Swedish
Oh, yep.
features,
Oops. Sorry,
and
I
Hollywood
forgot
is
my notes.
really paying attention to that film organization coming out of
The
Sweden.
Vanishing came around same time too, and yeah, a couple others.
So let's hop over to the other.
Yes,
And
let's do that.
Dun, dun,
This
dun.
it's still such a fun genre, and this is actually my favorite of the zombie films.
Mhm.
And it's not the original one. And yes, you may stone me for it. I don't actually prefer George Romero's work. His ideas I thought were very good. I think the updates on those ideas are a lot more interesting.
Yes.
And I actually like this version. I like the characters and the cast that they assembled for this, because you have such an interesting group of characters. Now the baby, but it's still the same idea. They're stuck in a mall, and everything outside the mall is going to kill you. So, oh good Lord, usually I'm better than this, guys. I apologize for my lack of freaking cool pictures this time around. I blame IMDb for this, because they usually give me better pictures than this, and they're giving me like shit tonight, and that's okay. So what I liked about the updated version, it was the first time you really got to see the fast zombies, and the fast zombies creep me the fuck out, because usually it was not these guys. The first scene with the little girl in the hallway, when she pounces on that dude like a spider monkey, that was terrifying. And it didn't let up. The entire movie was that pace until the very end. And then it was still that pace, and the camera cuts out. And it was just, man, I thought that was good filmmaking. And Zack Snyder's he is what he is. He gives you good movies. He's just he is what he is, though. And you just have to go with that. So, but he introduced this new thing. Although Robert Kirkman with the Walking Dead novels gave you another version of this. They're almost more of the classic Romero zombies. They're not quick, but that's the entire. You go into the world at fail there, which is a big difference. This, when you start with the world normal and you go to fail, in Robert Kirkman's world, everything is already fail, and that show is a whole another thing. But so, what are your favorite zombie? What's your favorite zombie movie? And Shieldwall, I'll jump down to you first on this one.
All right. Well, I really like the one that you were talking about, the 2004. I like the 78, but probably because of this scene I'm going to talk about, the 28 weeks later, when they're in the house, and they're not really, to me, they're not really zombies. They're just infected.
That's what the guy
Yeah.
said. They're not. It's not a zombie movie. They're
No,
infected.
they're not undead. Like if you blow their heart out with a pistol, they'll die.
Yeah.
It's just they're super hyped on adrenaline, and they have unlimited stamina basically. But anyway, they're in the house. Somehow the zombies find them. Somebody made a move or something that made a noise, and they get in. And his wife is like, "Please don't leave me." But he knows if he turns back, he's effed. And that long shot of him running to that boat and the hordes of zombies that are just going full speed coming out.
While she's doing that.
Yeah, well, she's doing that. Don't leave me. And he's like, I can't. And he just makes the fight or flight decision, and he has to run. And they're coming for him. And if he stops for and hesitates for a half a second, he is dead. And then he's got to get into the boat. Now, the rest of the movie kind of goes downhill a little bit after that for me. But this part right here is why I like this movie so much. I was like, holy crap! You wouldn't want to be that guy. And it kind of,
I like the world they created with this though, where you did have like your zones, but because it seemed very realistic.
Right, and also these zombies would starve to death. They weren't like perpetually undead.
Yeah.
They would literally starve to death. So in the end of 28 weeks or 28 days later, they do the flyover and they're all just laying there, and that's because they died from starvation. And
that's why it's important to stay out of the zones.
Yes. Then they had the whole, they're immune, but a transmitter. I don't want to get all that. It sounds too much more like present day stuff.
It's complicated. It does get complicated, but the premise of it was good. And actually 28 days later to 28 weeks later was good. It wasn't one of those, wonky transitions where it seemed forced. It actually seemed like a very natural transition between the events that ended with 28 days later moving forward, because the world is going to change. And it did, but it did in a very natural, a realistic way, not natural, because none of this is natural.
Right. I had a couple of problems with some of the things that happened in the movie, though. Like, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there's a portion where there's a person
if you've not seen the movie yet, if you haven't seen the movie yet, do this so that we can hear what you're.
But there's a part where a certain character comes back into it, and they have an immunity to being bitten. So they get bit, they won't turn, but they can transmit it. And so they're in this like bottom level, high security thing, left on a gurney strapped down with nobody around. And this person apparently has a cure in it. I'm like, what the hell? And then there's apparently a secret back door that just lets anybody with a passcode in. That you can come up from like underneath.
You don't have one of those?
Yeah.
There's literally one behind the frog.
And so that's how it kind of, there's a key point where something happens and it escapes that way. But I was like, where's the attendant nurse? Where are the guards? Where are the people that are constantly watching this person? Because they are the cure for the whole world right now, at least potentially. So why would they just be unattended and strapped down? Well, maybe they thought she was going to turn at any moment, but who knows?
It was stupid.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I thought that was weak. Some of the other stuff, like, I don't know, nerve agent gas actually having color to it, and then putting vents closed in your car is going to save you. But anyway, it had some issues, but it also had some good points. So I don't know.
Those are all good. Those are all good. That's a cool movie. Let's Blair to Blair. Let's hop over to you on this one.
Oh, there's so many. Train, like Matt mentioned, Train to Busan. That's a great one. The Dawn of the Dead is a really made one. I kind of like a lot of the Resident Evil movies too, for some reason. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure,
You read my mind. I was thinking exactly the same thing.
They're not good movies,
but they're fun.
But they're fun. But my favorite was they did a remake of Night of the Living Dead in color. The makeup guy Savini directed it, and Pat, the chick from Babylon 5, she played the girl, the woman. I can't remember her name, Pat Tillman or Tallman, Patricia Tallman. And they changed it a little bit where she lives through it.
So this is the 1990 version of them?
Yes, yes.
So with Tony Todd, and I actually remember this film.
Wait, is that the
Which is-
one
which
with
is good.
the bunker in Florida that has the elevator that goes down into it?
No, that was Romero's third one. That was Day of the
Okay.
Dead.
Okay, sorry.
This is it. This is it right here. They did a remake of Night of the Living Dead. It's almost shot for shot the same thing, except it's color, and she lives.
You're right. No, it was essentially.
And I just liked it. I just
And
really
I
enjoyed
wanted
it.
to note that Patricia Tallman is the one of the psychic characters on Babylon 5, and was
Lena.
also the hag lady in one of the Evil Dead features. I think it's
Yeah,
actually the final, right?
Yeah, she
And if
jumps
you
up
wish to
out
speak
of
of my mother
the
in
well.
that manner, you may.
Oh, okay. I remember this one now. Where they had that one guy that was talking about go in the basement. It'll be safe
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
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 Okay.
I don't know why. I just like it. It's one of my favorite
You know what?
No,
No,
it's a good
genre movies.
as far as I honestly don't think it gets enough credit as a remake. Like Dawn of the Dead, everybody knows Dawn of the Dead. Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
That one didn't get the same
No,
wow
it didn't.
factor, but it's a very good movie. I agree with you, Blair. I actually like it better than the original.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, George Romero. I prefer modern stylings, but his ideas were good, and that's the important thing. His ideas gave it, but he's also made modern zombie movies. Oh God, Island of the Dead, City of the Dead, and then
let's not remember
good. Did not make good.
Return of the Living Dead. Remember that in the 80s?
Yeah. That was more of a comedic take on.
I love that one too.
Is that the one with the guys in the little capsules? And he's like,
yes.
made by the U.S. Army engineers, built to last. And he hits it, and then it blasts this stuff up on him. Yeah,
let me pull it up.
Punk rockers in Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah. That and
filmed in Los
isn't
Angeles.
that the one where the whole brains thing comes from?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the first time they said brains.
Because that has gone into other cultural things like Fallout. Different stuff where things will, whatever their zombies are, they'll say that.
Yeah, this is the one where it came with brains.
Yeah, and
they're both funny.
This was just a fun movie. Again, it was, is it a masterpiece? Not by any stretch, but it was a lot of fun to watch.
Wow.
And yes, I'm not playing the sound. I'm just hoping I don't have to cut any of this stuff out later either. There it is.
A great soundtrack
that's
too.
It. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
She did a strip scene in the cemetery that was pretty.
Yeah, also true.
Incredible too.
So this was definitely a good one. I think I was actually working at the 1985. No, I think it may have been Return of the Living Dead 2 where I was working at the movie theater.
Those are some fast zombies as well.
Yeah. They weren't because of how they were raised was almost exactly identical in a way to 28 Days Later. It was like a gas or an agent or.
Oh, look at that guy! He's a lovely fella.
That was the original dude, and he's still wearing all his stuff from Vietnam because that's where they were testing it at. And they were trying to make super soldiers or whatever. And so that's why he still all had his Vietnam stuff on when they just packed
Holy Jacob's ladder.
You can't kill him. Shooting him in the brain doesn't work. You can't destroy him. You gotta burn him totally. But then as you burn him, it releases the gas. So if it rains down on a cemetery, all of the skeletons will come after you.
Because then they threw him in in one of the cremators because they're at a the part of the facility they can cremate people.
There it is, right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, now I want to watch this.
That looked a lot less fake when I was first watching this in 1980s.
Yeah, I know, right?
I know.
Oh Lord. That is
fantastic.
a good one. Oh dear.
Bunch right down on them. Send more cops.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
recognize
these are
that guy
God.
too.
Yeah.
The guy that jumped on the radio. He looks really familiar. Where have I seen him before?
They had a lot of people in this, had a little bit part set up too. Yeah, the
But
second one
that
they
was
made
that
even
was
funnier.
A fun movie.
How about
right,
you,
so-
Brandon?
Yeah, but poor Brandon, the anime guy in the land of zombies. What do we get?
Well, I've got a little more modern take and a little different take on it. It's one that is affectionately called Tokyo Ghoul.
Oh Lord.
I've heard of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
my daughter's a
So-
big fan.
Yeah, it's been a pretty popular one over the past 10 years or so. But I do have
2014.
the preview
Okay.
for it here.
Oh, you got it? Okay. Perfect.
So here is the official trailer, English subtitled. Now that's for Tokyo Ghoul Ari. Let me back up. Let me find the right one that I want.
Do not
First season.
cut me, YouTube.
We'll do this one.
They always want to cut me.
This is transformative
This
content.
is why we have to treat them like equals. If we were to treat them like the animals they are, they'd kill us all.
I'll walk you home. I mean, what kind of date would I be if I did?
Yeah, that's the first mistake. He
Uh-oh.
he scores a 10 when he's only a 5. And you'll see exactly what type of trouble that causes him.
Yeah, should have known better with a girl like you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's this way. Is there something wrong, Toka?
It's nothing.
Kaneki, I want you just as much as you want me.
But we need consent from the next of kin.
Next of kin?
He needs her organs to survive.
What the hell are they talking about?
Yeah, he should have died, but he didn't die. And instead he gets the organs of Rize and turns into a half human, half ghoul.
Hopefully he got
Oh,
the organs
wow.
in the correct
I love
way.
this.
Oh yeah, and her psyche is also part of his psyche now, and she, yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay, so there's psychic transfer through the organs.
Yeah, the organs and everything with the organs, it makes it to where the only thing that that he can eat is human flesh. Anything that's not human flesh, you can't stand. With one exception, there's only one, and that's coffee, black. That's because coffee is universal.
Everybody likes coffee.
Yep, everyone likes coffee, including the ghouls.
I'm different somehow.
All that matters is you are still you.
What's up, Kaneki? You feeling any better?
I say you make the most of being a half-breed. I wonder if the other one-eyed ghoul is anything
That's
like
enough.
So yeah, only one of his eyes glows like a ghoul, and in the world that they live in, the ghouls are not smiled upon. They're highly frowned upon. So they have to be more skulky in the shadows.
Could you just wear like a patch?
Oh, yeah, he eventually
Like
does.
Nick Fury just kind of.
Yeah, he eventually
wow.
does do something like that.
What the hell am I supposed to do now?
You have to admire prey that can match you move for move. Keeps things interesting.
Step aside. She knows too much.
How pretty. Ghouls in the world don't mix. Run, dear. Run fast.
So yeah, even younger people have been turned into ghouls, and they don't like. A lot of them don't like what they have to do to survive, but there are others, of course, that they do like what they have to do to survive.
Right.
Doesn't concern you or me
With all due respect,
or anyone else.
I'm more cool than human these days.
They'll hunt us to extinction.
Drives me crazy, especially when there's no reason for it.
I've left more of your ilk in the garbage than could ever eat of mine in a lifetime.
Could you send me there? I just want to see her again.
Yep. and they've had what was it, about three seasons of it, I believe, and it does it did get completed. So
good.
That's the bonus. So there's a lot of these older shows that they never completed, but this one, as far as I'm aware, did get completed.
So you're not a human.
I can't be a ghoul.
Well, you're not a ghoul either.
And
Wow,
it is
that was
readily
great.
available on Blu-ray.
And remember, if this is absent tomorrow, that means YouTube fucked me. So, who have I not gotten in our roundup of
Me.
zombies?
I've got one for the panel. I'd be curious to see what everybody thinks of this. And once again, I bring off another one that is offbeat. And now that I know more about Tokyo Ghouls, ironically, very
man, that was
anime,
great.
but live action, called Warm Bodies, 2013.
Wait, I remember this.
Yep, it's a
Yes,
romance zombie film.
yeah, I remember this movie. We actually, I believe, Mrs. of the Empire made me watch this.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good for what it was trying to be. I mean, he becomes conscious of his own actions and then becomes a superhero, which is kind of like Tokyo Ghoul in a lot of ways. This was originally written as a short story. A first-time writer posted it to his blog. Somebody put eyeballs on it, and within a year, he was writing the screenplay for this story, for this movie. So it's almost a little bit of a screenplay romance story as well, because it's the author got an insane break because of the uniqueness of the storyline. But it's definitely a zombie movie.
It's just in that one shot, he wasn't that dead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is what helps him resurrect himself almost. His consciousness becomes even stronger the more he realizes that he's physically attracted to this girl and not for her brains, ironically.
The one time where the female doesn't want to be attracted to somebody for their brains.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly. Hysterical.
Yeah.
So awesome. But you see what I mean, Brandon, that it is a very anime version. It's well done in a live action form.
That it is. I don't remember that one, but then again, I don't remember a whole ton of things from that time frame. So,
and I think it's sweet enough. It's PG-13, so I don't know where your daughters are at. I don't know where your daughters are at, but it's definitely the closest thing we get to a Twilight version of a zombie movie.
Except,
except they don't sparkle.
Yeah, he doesn't sparkle. He does shine occasionally, but not sparkle.
All right, I'll be back in 1 sec, guys. Drive the bus for a sec.
Cheers.
Matt mentions the Henry Rollins movie called He Never Died. He's kind of like a cross between a vampire and a zombie. I think he's supposed to be Cain, so he's cursed to live forever, but he has a natural taste as well.
Oh, that's fascinating that he's attached to Cain. When did that, Matt, please tell us a date on that one. Never Died. I got to look that up because there's a lot of anime that kind of ran with that trope of Cain is an immortal that is still among us and a questionable anti-hero possibly. Right, yeah. Brandon? There's been a few animes that have touched on that concept.
2015.
Yeah, I believe
2015.
So.
Okay, so it's around the same time period as a lot of the ones I'm thinking of. There's an anime that takes place. A girl gets hit by a truck and winds up in a hell school, and one of her allies turns out to be Cain, and her father and mother are quite literally Adam and Eve, which is like it just gets more and more insane by the second. And it becomes this biblical allegory as they come to the climax of the story.
Only in anime could they pull off something like that and get away with it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, and it works. It's all there. It's so hysterical. They're so good
that's good.
That TV show Lucifer does stuff like that, where it has like Adam and Eve and God and everybody, but it's in like modern day LA.
Supernatural thing too.
I can't handle that type of show. That type of show just pushes me just too far. So I've never seen it.
Okay.
I don't have any frame of reference.
I don't even know what you're talking about at this point.
We went
I
off
love
the deep
all
end with anime.
shows. So He Never Died. I actually saw that movie with Rollins.
Ooh, let's have some visuals.
Let me pull it up. I'm working on it. You didn't want to see the visuals I was doing a minute ago. He never.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's funny. I'm very old. So He Never Died. Yeah, where he plays Kane. It's quite an interesting. It's one of those interesting concept movies. And again, we won't have sound, and hopefully they don't get pissed off that I show any of the visuals. But
Oh, it's Henry Rollins.
it's Henry Rollins, man.
Yeah. He can act in certain things. I think he did a good one of this.
No, I thought he was great in this.
Oh, hey, that's the actor that played Trevor in GTA 5. The guy he was
cool
in just another scene.
Okay. So funny. I can't get past his musical career in my brain.
Me either.
Every time I see him,
either.
it's an MTV short. Every time I see him, I can't help it.
Yeah, I'm saying liar while he's dressed up like a cop.
Just flexing tattoos and beach scenes and, Latino cars hopping in the street. And, I can't.
He actually does really good album reviews on YouTube in case anybody ever wanders across that stuff.
Yeah, it's totally me, man. God bless him that he's got a career. That's totally awesome. Godspeed. Keep it going.
I don't prefer a lot of his politics, but I like his other stuff. And I can separate those worlds, which is nice.
Yeah, he's a pretty multifaceted kind of person as far as what he likes and what he does and his ability to do things.
Right. I think Rollins and I actually enjoy a lot of the same stuff. We just couldn't sit in the same room together and drink because we'd end up killing each other.
Well, no need to boast, Roman, but I seriously think he would definitely kill you first. But that's another story.
What? Just because he has a 12-inch neck? Whatever. My zombie blood.
Train to Busan. Has anybody seen that one? Because Thad has mentioned it a bunch of times.
I think all you got. Yeah, let me.
I've heard nothing but good things about it, but I have just not gotten around to seeing it.
It's not great.
God damn me.
Just I haven't gotten around to seeing it.
I have two keyboards and I always try to use them both.
But from the reviews I've seen, Blair to Blair, I would agree. There's a lot of positive energy behind it, and it's top notch, even screenplay wise. The characters are all well developed and conceived, and the world is truly terrifyingly dangerous, but not beyond the capabilities of the heroes.
But you live in LA, Steve, and this is what you deal with every day.
Well, this is not too far from the truth. And I live in Koreatown, so doubly so.
They did a sequel of this called The Peninsula, which wasn't as good. But they did a prequel that was an anime. I think it's just called Busan, where you see a little bit more of it as it goes through the city. That's a really good anime if you can find it. I think it's on Netflix. And,
look how good this looks.
Yes. This is like one of the first Korean movies I saw that I realized something is going on over there that's not happening here anymore.
And this is right around the time of Squid Game too, so it has that parallel in society as far as the social awareness of Korean media.
I actually got the Empire family to watch this one, and they're not a big fan of subtitle movies, but they watch the shit out of this movie.
Oh, the action is so on point.
That freaking subway, the train scene, the one they just showed with all the soldiers and everything, where it was all collapsing on everything. It was just an incredible scene.
And as they're going through the train too, it's
good
stuff. It's written like a video game because each train car is almost like a separate chapter.
Right.
The doors are almost like a save point.
And it looks a lot like DayZ, but DayZ was a little too over the top for me with the amount of, they're like climbing up
World War Z?
Stuff. Yeah, World War Z, that's it.
I liked World War Z. I liked the book better than the film, but that's not surprising.
That's I heard, yeah.
Because the book is actually, you know, like excerpts, and it's just set up in a certain way, and the film was a linear version, but told through a central character, because they had to have a central character to tell it through if they're going to do it in that kind of way. But I do like the movie. I like the extended version actually better than the regular version, but that's the same for me with most, but not all movies. But
You know,
I did like. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was. I didn't know if you were finished. Continue. If you're just finish up.
I'm almost never finished, Steven. So
okay,
just come in whenever you want to.
I wanted to ask Brandon. I'm familiar with a couple of recent zombie anime shows. Isn't there like a high school drama that was turned into a live action that was based on an anime?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. What is that? Yeah.
Well, I know there's High School of the Dead. I know there's that, but
I think that's it.
Oh Lord, is that a Romero project?
No, it's an
Korean
animated feature.
That was a joke because the name is literally sounds like a Romero movie.
Oh. I've got one more that I got one more that I want to share.
Yeah.
It's not an anime series, but it is. Well, there's two movies that came out of the first book and the third book. I've got my screen ready to share. Vampire Hunter D. Dark Horse Comics has been bringing all of it and localizing it here. And in fact, they have Omnibus Book 1, Book 2, and Book 3. And the original movies are based off of the first one and the third one. The first one, it's just Vampire Hunter D.
Interesting feature about the vampires in this universe. Oop, we lost Brandon.
Right.
Oh, probably during the screen share. We'll get him back. Here he comes. Any second now.
I boomered it. My bad. Let's try that again.
Really?
And the vampires in Vampire Hunter D are part of a science fiction universe where the vampires were created sometime in our future, but their deep past. So all
extreme
of the vampires
deep past.
Yeah, extreme, like thousands of years, right?
10,000 plus.
Right. So there's remnants of this super high-tech world just kind of falling into decay because these vampires, we fought against them as like an army of humans versus these, I don't know, upper 1% that had turned themselves into immortals. And that's the Vampire D universe. And it's filled with all kinds of either magically created or tech created, but it's basically all of the familiar universal and classic monsters.
Yep. I've actually got my screen ready to share again. But yeah, the first one, if I remember correctly, it's...
Oh, there it is. Okay, got it.
It's Kiss from a Noble, I think is what the official title of the first book is. But the third one, this book here is what the second movie, Bloodlust, was based on, and it's called Demon Death Chase. But the gentleman that did all the artwork, Yoshitaka Amano, he is also very well known for doing the artwork for the first 6 Final Fantasy games, including my favorite, which is Final Fantasy VI. He is, as you can see, the way that he does his drawings is a little different than most of the current mangaka, the creators. Very unique in his stylings.
That almost has a Renaissance influence to it.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, there's a ton of books. They're not too expensive. They have them all, or you could just go straight for the omnibus. And there's 3 of them. But as you can see, we've only... This is a bit sad. We only have 2 movies, yet we have 29 books.
Yes. Yeah. This is what I mean about the choices that the entertainment industries are making. The idea that there's this much Vampire Hunter D sitting on the shelf, unsung, basically, except in manga form, and this isn't manga, by the way. These are illustrated novels.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
They are not comic books.
I would pay to see a good live action version of this.
Could you imagine I mean, Blade is the closest thing we've gotten so far. And
Because
that's not even
this
close.
stuff isn't. I remember. What year did Vampire Hunter D come out?
1984.
The animated version.
Animated. The first one was 1984, but we didn't get a localized version of it till who was it? Streamline Pictures.
I saw it when I was still a kid. I saw it when I was in high school. Before I joined the Navy, before I became this weird old guy.
Yep, me too.
I saw Vampire Hunter D, and it made quite the impression. It was me before I was 19 years old, so that it's somewhere in that zone. But
yeah, they
it was
incredible. Streamline Pictures was the one that did this one. And Streamline's one of those companies that, you know, I wish they would have survived longer, because they were one of the first ones to really bring stuff here. Like they were the original distributor for My Neighbor Totoro, Akira, Robot Carnival. Let's see, Fist of the North Star. Yeah, that wasn't brought over here till like 91. So 92 is when they had it and when they brought it over.
So this is interesting from that background. When Highlander was a series, Adrian Paul tried to get a live action vampire set down here, and then they didn't do it. That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was the guy to bring it, but I mean, it was interesting that it was around that time.
Well, I mean, could you imagine this being done with somebody like, and I know you guys are going to cringe at the idea, but Twinkle Batman.
No!
You know,
Twinkle Fatman?
No, you know, the guy who played recently in the 2022 Batman.
Robert Pattinson, for those of you listening.
Pattinson.
Oh.
Sorry. I mean,
Sparkly.
I could literally see him playing a role like this. I mean, because he needs Vampire Hunter D is a gorgeous being, right? Like, imposingly beautiful.
Very much
like
so.
everybody in the world is just thoroughly impressed at his look.
Well, that's sad they don't have the larger picture.
Oh, yeah,
anymore,
it's not blowing it up, is it?
But yeah, this one was originally written in 83, and it's most definitely for mature readers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. Now, to the zombie side, there is one thing I do want to give a shout out to, because it's unfortunately a series, a game series that was made by Valve, released in 2008, that was one of the first 4-player co-op first-person shooter shoot-'em-ups for the PC, for the Xbox 360, and if I remember correctly, even for the PlayStation 3. So if you'll share the screen, I have it ready. It is Left 4 Dead.
Yes!
That is still the best multiplayer co-op zombie survival game ever created. And even though the graphics are aged, it's still a gorgeous game.
No, it's a really fun game. My son would get so mad at me because I'd get all the skills every time.
They did make a sequel to it, which was all right, a little different, but unfortunately, Valve has a very bad habit of making something super awesome, making 2 games of it, and then never touching it again.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for Half-Life 3, Gabe Newell, you fat bastard.
Good luck.
I love the man, but I call him a fat bastard as a term of endearment, and hopefully to get him off his ass and get it completed.
Yeah. You know, I want to make a comment here, because I've been discussing this on a few other channels. This idea of the games having a legacy. I think I was talking to Matt about this actually just the other day. We were talking about bands and whether or not the trademark should eventually become a legacy device for musicians to basically join the conversation. I'm wondering with these video games, if at some point they shouldn't open up the license and just allow the framework to be handled by a moderation community where people are doing modules, writing their own chapters, using models from the game and using platforms from the game. I'm wondering if that's not a viable future for dead titles.
A lot of games already do that. They depending on the game, it has mods capability. Like Skyrim is a good example.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting the idea from.
Yeah,
Like
anything Bethesda.
And Fallout, and they make the game better basically for free. You download all the mods, you can do all these different things. They can make it Lord of the Rings if they want, or whatever.
Right.
Thomas the Tank Engine is
Thomas
the dragon.
Yeah.
Either that or the Macho Dragon.
Right.
Doom had a mod where everybody was Barney.
Yes.
You went around the game killing Barney.
But also back to the Left 4 Dead, there were several other games that were made based on that system, but that I like better, because in Left 4 Dead, you're survivors. You're just trying to like live to get to the extraction zone. But in some other games, like Vermintide, or the new game they're coming out with, Darktide, you are dyed-in-the-wool killers. The zombie should be afraid of you because you're going to go through and you're trying to do these things, and you're basically equipped and capable and trained and armed enough that you just murder everything. Now, they're trying to kill
Warhammer
you.
Vermintide.
Right, Warhammer Vermintide, where you just in Left 4 Dead, when I played it, you're always scared. You're like, oh, they're coming to get me. There's a witch, whatever. We got to conserve our ammo. In Vermintide, you're just going crazy with the two-handed sword, swathing through rats. There were rats in that one. It was like these rat people. But in the new one, it's a plague that's been released in this giant hive city with like 9 billion people in it, and they've turned into zombies, and you've got like las guns and swords and all this stuff. Anyway, and you have to go do these missions like turn the power plant on or whatever. And they're different, but they're the same because it's 4-player. There's hordes of zombies. But I remember in Left 4 Dead when that damn car alarm went off and all the hordes.
Oh yeah,
you're
in deep shit if that goes off.
That was a scary moment. But when you're playing like Vermintide or Darktide, right? When a horde comes, you're less scared. You're more like, let's do this, and you wade in there. I don't know. I just like the fact that you're a hero in that, as opposed to just 4 random survivors, right? But they were both great games, and I wish they would make a new, updated version of those, because Back 4 Blood was trash. I did not like it. It wasn't optimized right, like the way it played. So
I was going to say that's the spiritual successor. Yeah, that's the single biggest problem with Valve and the games that they themselves have created. Everything that they've made themselves is top-notch A tier, S tier, God tier games. But then they stop. And they just soak up all the cash from Steam. And yeah, trust me, Gabe has made quite a pretty penny doing that, as opposed to making Half-Life 3, which if they did make Half-Life 3, unlike another game that was vaporware for forever and turned out to be complete and total trash when it came out, which was Duke Nukem Forever. Had they done what they were originally going to do, it would have been fine. Had they stayed on their original timetable instead of switching game engines 5 times. Asshats.
Yeah, that one was a huge disappointment.
I got a question for the panel. Has there ever been either a TV show or a movie, I'm certainly not familiar, in the genre of zombie where it was like Aliens, where a prepared group was just capable of mowing through the zombies because the story was actually just existing in a zombie world?
And no. The problem was it's Zack Snyder, and it is called
City of the Dead.
Is that City of the Dead?
Well, in Las Vegas.
I know the one in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Let me
most recent
look
one.
up the title on that real fast, because it was shit, and everyone.
Yeah, I had heard that it wasn't really good.
It was not good. It was one of the ones that had a lot of. Dave Bautista was in it. But there was like one actor they cut out entirely and put another.
That to me was the most.
Tig Notaro
was the most interesting thing about that is the whole movie looked like shit, but
Planet of the Dead.
But
Army of the Dead.
Right.
Army.
Yeah.
Army.
But that, because they did that, I kind of thought that was interesting when I found out about it, but I didn't realize it during the movie that she had been digitally replaced. that
Yeah,
guy.
I had heard that it was a really clean transfer.
It
Somehow
was.
they-
You couldn't tell.
What I heard though was it was a terrible movie. So
No,
it was
it was bad. It
It's
just
trash.
so unlike that one, there's this one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Shaun of the Dead.
Simon
Come
Pegg
on,
back when he was
come
still
on.
kind of funny.
Before before he got weird.
And did his car hostage video.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I actually thought this movie was just so much fun. And Mrs. of the Empire and I adopted a phrase from this. Whenever we decide we're going to go to dinner at the same place, she just says, "Well, do you want to go to the Winchester?" And I'm like, "No." She's like, "Yes, you do." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go to the Winchester." Get it, the Winchester.
Fried gold.
I felt bad for his buddy, Mexican Crisps, but he had to take this guy out. Was so funny. I thought this was a really fun movie. It was zombies and it was comedy and it was, it was good.
Yeah. The pacing of this, what is it called? The Cornetto series?
Yeah, the 3 films.
Yeah, the pacing and the voice of this period of their careers was just so on point. I mean, they're legendary in the film community, and all the hipsters really dig what's going on in these things.
Also, the setting it in England, it limits the amount of firearms and stuff that you can have. Because if you set that in Nevada, people
you're
literally
done.
have miniguns and mortars and stuff. like
That's right.
real.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Tanks, even. Armored cars. Even.
Yep. Like Civil War cannons and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think they only had one non-working gun in this movie. Everyone else is like throwing records at people and
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, they were throwing records, and then they get the rifle down at the Winchester.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. I thought paid a nice homage to just the zombie movies in general, but gave a nice comedic element, but was a good balance between the two. It was just a very enjoyable movie.
Yeah, you know what? Another one along those lines, and definitely more in the Western vein, Western America, is Zombieland.
Fucking Zombieland.
Yeah, the
also
first
on
one.
my list.
The first
Yeah,
one. for
that
sure.
second one was not cool, by the way.
Yeah.
The first one, of course. I mean,
But they really
that
should
is
not
a
have done
country
that second one.
boys zombie movie because
Yep.
Woody Harrelson just brings it home, man. He's just chewing it up.
Tallahassee.
And the whole world collapsing in the title sequence is a brilliant move. The world is basically collapsed by the time the title is over.
Yeah. And that door move is what's the game? Sorry, I'm blanking. There's a game where you're driving around in cars and you can do that. You can open the car doors on the zombies and knock them out.
That's got to be an internal reference then. I love the rule set. I absolutely love the rule sets. I love the rule
Cardio.
sets across the board. The rules of acquisition from Deep Space Nine and the Zombieland survival rules. I feel there are two lists I absolutely adore going over because it's like, you know what? You have those two things written down on paper and in your back pocket. You could probably survive pretty much anything.
Oh, the clown with the squeaky feet.
Oh God!
And then he's like, and then he hits him with that thing. He's like, "F this clown." that was my favorite part. Is when he said that, "F this clown," and he smashed it.
And Bill Murray faking himself being a zombie so he can go to the supermarket.
That was my favorite part.
That must be what he's actually doing in Hollywood right now. Is just faking it. He's just faking being whatever Hollywood suggests he needs to be to survive the zombie apocalypse.
How
that we're living
prophetic.
through. Right? Isn't
I
it?
know.
It's fantastic. It really is.
For the
He must have a
vampire
good
side,
giggle about that. He must have heard that. He's intelligent enough to know that that's what's going on.
for the vampire side, Dusk Till Dawn is one of those kind of over the top.
Right. Oh,
Quentin's only vampire movie.
You know, the whole, she's pouring tequila down her leg into his throat because she's got her foot in his mouth, and turns out they're on top of an ancient Aztec temple, and
that part was
the
cool.
casting on this one was so interesting as well.
And the guy with the crotch gun.
That was Tom. That was Tom.
Tom Savini.
Yes. You had Harvey Keitel in this. Oh goddamn! I fucking hate George Clooney so much. Quentin Tarantino as a complete psycho, which is interesting.
Wait, isn't he like that already?
Yeah. There's a TV series on Netflix.
Maybe.
That was pretty good. They delved more into the lore. But yeah, this is like one of those vampire movies that it's almost it's pretty gory, but it's totally in the vein of Quentin Tarantino. He did a horror movie, basically.
But you did get this, which was worthwhile for a while.
Yeah, that made that movie pretty popular.
Unfortunately, I'm
Yeah,
so
that
uncomfortable in the scene. Please stop looking at me.
Yeah, I know.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah, he's
Machete.
great. Yeah, he's great in everything he does.
Literally everything Danny Trejo is in.
Is he? He's been in something like he's getting up there close to in so many how many movies he's been in. It's a lot. It's like over 200.
Yeah, he's been a lot. He's been Heat, of course, Machete, and then all the other movies. He's had either a small part or a major
I loved
part.
him in Heat. They're talking about doing a Heat too.
I saw that.
I'm concerned about this.
There's a book.
I think there's a novel out now, but there's a novel.
These days, you should be concerned about anybody in Hollywood Center remaking anything.
Yeah, keep your hands off the past. Enough already with reaching into the friggin' past. Do something. If you want to do something current day, then write something freaking current day. Stop reaching into the past.
The crotch gun. How that even works? Look, it doesn't even make any sense.
I don't know. I don't know. Dear God.
We just know it does.
There it is, flaccid.
Like
how about
don't even go to anything.
How about Robert Rodriguez's whatchamacallit from the Grindhouse movies? What was that called?
Oh, you're thinking about Planet Terror.
Yep, Planet Terror.
Yeah, with Rose McGowan or whatever with the M16
with
leg.
the leg.
Yeah, I never saw that.
That one was a little tough to get through. I like Death Proof a lot. I thought Death Proof was fun with Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Planet Terror was a little more weird for me to get through than there are a lot of elements that I didn't like. It was like all the bad elements of the horror movies that I'd seen before. That's what I got.
That was kind of the point, was that it was trying to duplicate those movies.
Right.
It was paying homage to those, and it paid homage in the cast, in the screenplay, in the settings. I think main characters from other movies were actually mentioned by name. So it's definitely a tribute, big time, like almost Jack Black level of tribute to the zombie pictures of.
There it is. Okay, I got it.
But also part of the Tarantino universe. Some speculate that if there is a connected universe in Tarantino's films, these were movies, the Grindhouse movies, were films they could go see on the screen in their world.
Ah, gotcha.
That's the rumor I've heard.
I can see that now.
So Josh Brolin got his part in this just before he got the part in No Country for Old Men.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they literally let him use the cameras and everything to film his audition for No Country for Old Men from this movie.
Good for him, man. He was making a bit of a comeback with this.
Because and man, that I like No Country for Old Men, not a zombie movie or a vampire movie, but a great movie.
Right. It's close though. He could be a vampire. Good grief. The villain, the assassin in that movie, he could be a vampire. He was so terrifying.
Michael Biehn, one of the great underappreciated actors ever, also in this. the gun leg.
Yeah, and no need to mention Bruce Willis as well. I love it when he plays a bad guy. He's really good at playing a bad guy.
There was Tom again.
Yeah, yeah, he's in all these, it seems like.
And of course,
speaking of directors, John Carpenter did a good vampire movie called John Carpenter's Vampires.
Oh, okay.
It had
I didn't even know it existed.
James Woods in it. And,
oh fuck! I know that movie. I've seen that movie. God damn my keyboards! If you look on this screen, there's like a whole bunch of letters that are literally not here. I'm going to share. I'm going to share what I've been typing right now. That's what I've been typing. Random shit on my other keyboard.
I actually need to be going, so I appreciate the invite tonight. It was a lot of fun getting to
thank you, Brandon.
learn a lot of other things. So
yeah,
thanks for coming by, Brandon.
Anime recommendations.
Oh, you're so very welcome.
Yeah.
A lot of great movies. Thank you.
No, I'm going to hunt down Vampire Hunter D again.
The novels are great, Roman.
And fucking Helsing.
Yep, definitely get them. They're worth the time. All right, everybody, you take care. We'll see you later.
Have a good
one.
All
right, man. Take care, buddy.
Yep. Thanks, Roman.
Yep.
Yeah, John Carpenter's Vampires was a pretty good vampire movie.
All right, here I got it pulled up now. In fact. Yeah, this was a good film. Actually, I enjoyed this. One, because I like almost anything James Woods is in. He's another one of those actors who can really raise the level of a film by just being in it. I know we can't hear what he's saying. I'm hoping I don't get like half my stream struck as it is.
Yeah, it was really cool. They had like a Vatican hit squad for vampires.
Exactly. Is that Stephen Baldwin?
Yep.
Or Daniel Baldwin. Daniel Baldwin. The other Baldwin. Right. The lesser known Baldwin.
The goofier looking one.
And that's him. That's the Cobra Kai guy.
What, the
Terry
blonde?
Silver.
Oh, yeah, Terry Silver's actor?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That was back just after he did all his karate kung fu action and martial arts movies.
Who's that actress?
She was in
that must be Cheryl Lee.
Cheryl Lee. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she was in the Laura Palmer thing, Twin Peaks.
Oh, really?
OG or the new stuff?
Yeah, OG.
Okay.
The fact that you have to ask that question is funny and
sad.
In our world.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's another one I want to bring up that we never got a chance to talk about, but is certainly in the vein of some of the comedy we were looking at a little earlier, and that would be Abe Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. We just watched that the other night. We did.
That was surprisingly good. I couldn't believe how satisfied I was. Very gratifying movie.
Isn't there a Pride and Prejudice zombies too?
Yeah, this film is based on that series of alternate universe vampire and zombie versions of Victorian classics.
That one, the Pride and Prejudice actually feels a lot more like Pride and Prejudice.
Right.
Whereas Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter was just kind of a fun movie. And there's actually a lot of actors in this as well. The British guy who I like so much. Oh, please tell me you're in that. Rufus Sewell.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Rufus I love great. Rufus Sewell. And
he was good in First Night or whatever it was.
I think of him from
Dark City.
Dark City.
Yeah, he was in Dark City.
And he was like the dude in Dark City. And then the alternate history series,
Man in the High Castle.
He played the fuck out of John Smith. He was so good in that.
Yeah.
So I give Rufus Sewell gets a lot of leeway, but this film was a lot of fun to watch. They were
well
able
executed.
To combine the real and the fantasy pretty well, and they didn't really fuck over anybody too much, which was nice.
Yeah, I love this concept. I'm a Joss Whedon Buffy fan, so this was right up my alley because it felt like it came from the Buffyverse. You know, it was even produced very similarly with the language and the comedy, but everybody's taking it seriously.
Right.
Yep.
But not too seriously.
And what's interesting about this is that metaphorically, as an allegory, this film is actually depicting what was genuinely going on down there. There was the slavers were an obsessed, elitist, egocentric kind of people. And they could have been called vampires in a classical sense because they were just devouring what they were reaping. Their plantations were run horribly by most standards, and yet they didn't think they were doing anything immoral, right? So there was this odd, almost psychopathic separation in parts of the society. So I could see the allegory very clearly in this.
Oh, Lord. Sorry, I
to
didn't
bring it
realize
to
we were
a
getting
very
so late.
serious note.
So let's take a quick look at this, and then we're gonna fuck off. Never mind. Well, no, I'm gonna skip over the screen they want me to see.
Gotcha.
So Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna close out on this one just for because of time's sake, and I apologize to everybody for that. This series made such an impact on me as a viewer.
And the comic too.
The first few seasons were just I never read the books. My son has read the books. I haven't read the books. I have to apologize for that. But damn, those first few seasons were just amazing. It was before it got too weird and
like adapted from a comic book series as well.
Yes.
Yes.
The Negan series, the Negan episodes was kind of where they lost me. And apparently IMDb has decided I can fuck myself. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I don't want to see. Okay. I don't want to see all 3,000 of their pictures. Got it. So, when Rick finally comes out of the coma and is riding kind of through the waste, and he ends up in that big lot, and the first zombie he sees is that little girl. Little girl with the teddy bear and just all of that is a horrible and amazing scene. That's his first look at really the new world. And then he has to shoot the little girl. The world that they've created in this is so terrible. And what happened for me with Negan, at least in the television series, you always had that little bit of hope in the television series, and that's what kept you going through the television series. And then when you lost that, it became a problem. But then they got it back again, which was a little bit weird. When Rick beat Negan, and he got in prison for like 7 years, or whatever. I wish they had ended the series when Rick beat Negan. Because you could have ended it there, and you actually had your window open for the world at that point. Because he's like, I could kill him right now, but that's the world that is the past. I want to move into the world that's in the future. And that was such a good speech that he gave, basically saying, we can beat all of this and we can move forward. It was like a Lincoln speech, really. And they could have ended it there. And I think that probably would have been better than what they have done.
It stayed around way too long.
Because it gave you the sense of hope, and it's over. And that's all you need. All you need is that sense of hope moving forward for humanity. And Walking Dead was really good at keeping you in that, even when things were terrible, like with the governor. And I hung with this series for a very long time. Yes, I know it. Yes, I know it's adapted from a comic series. I didn't get hit in the head with a rock last night. I know that. I haven't read the series though. I'm sorry.
It is fantastic to at least acknowledge that this was so well adapted that it became a thing on its own.
Yeah. Yes, and Kirkland.
Kirkland
they
did
involved.
Comic book adaptation correctly.
but it did deviate from the comic book series. I mean, even I, who didn't read the comic series, knows they deviated from it significantly.
Right.
Because sometimes you have to. If you want to hang on to your TV audience, you got to change some shit up. Because
a comic book is a comic book, and a TV show is a TV show. That's the reason why.
It's like, oh, we killed this guy off, but man, the fans love him in the series. I guess he's staying alive. Or you create a character. I think Daryl, if I'm not mistaken, didn't exist.
Daryl's not from the
right?
the books.
Yeah, both him and his brother are brand new people.
But that is such a cultural impact show. Because I mean, me and the kids and their friends used to gather around the set like it was the fucking football game on Sunday nights, because we don't watch football. But all their friends were gathered around in a living room with popcorn and snack food, watching The Walking Dead.
Good grief. I'm sorry, just as an aside.
Don't judge me.
The commentary on modern society. Oh, man. It's totally true. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's just, maybe with 20 years ago, what television show was that?
Gather around, kids. Let's see it gets tore apart this week.
Come on!
Yeah, and the kids are cheering on the guys wielding an axe.
The biggest cheer was ever in my house is when oh god, I can't remember her name. The black girl with her brothers, Michonne, stabbed the governor through the eye.
Yeah.
That was the biggest cheer that ever happened in my house. More than any sporting event ever happened was that cheer when she stabbed him through the eye with the glass. It was just like, wow! Yeah. So that was our Super Bowl. It was that year.
There must have been a bunch of shotgun shout outs too. Grab the shotgun. No, reload the shotgun. Reload it quick.
Yeah, I was that way in the first season. Like, give the kids knives. Give everybody weapons. Everyone.
It's funny. The zombie genre, and it's amazing. Zach's really nailed it on the head. It's an environment. It's a mood, as the kids might say. There are certain things that you need to just abandon completely. The world is different now. Okay, all bets are off except for what's important, and the film and the story then becomes what is important. Family, friends, survival, right? So that would include food, water, shelter, friendship, trust, loyalty, all of those things.
Fortifications, weapons. I would argue armor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If their main way of beating you is biting you and you turn, you armor up.
Yeah, I mean, God, the friggin' the Rubbermaid garbage can lids would be a perfect shield. You just tie one of those on your arm and you're good to go for a while. I mean, how many of those are in the world?
You're not wrong.
You start shielding yourself up, put one of those on your back and tie it through your shoulders. Yeah, that there you go.
Yeah.
I stopped watching it when Negan bashed those guys' heads in, and then
a lot of people did. People did. I continued on for the next, I think, season or two after that.
Well, I had stuff
until
going
Rick
on.
won, and then when Rick won, it fixed it. Yeah, but that was a very demoralizing season for a lot of people, and they're like, "I'm out,
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, even they acknowledged that was their moment when they lost a lot of their fan base. Because like I said, once Rick won, was my okay. Actually, I'm done now. I don't need to see anymore. Any more is going to make it unpalatable for the rest of the time I watch it. You kind of need to know when to cut your show.
Yes,
and
exactly.
they didn't do that very well.
And they kept baiting that. Oh, Glenn's dead. Oh wait, no, he's not.
Glenn's
Glenn's
under
dead.
a dumpster. He's in the trunk. He's in the hamster. He's hiding under a toilet.
They knew how popular that character was.
And then, they killed him.
Yeah.
One to end your show. And
exactly.
Much in that vein, I'm going to end the show. So, because for time considerations, I apologize to you guys who are still hanging on, who still want to hear more about the crazy stuff because there's a lot of out there. And we could talk about everything we're talking about for a very long time. So I'm going to close it out and we're going to go around the horn real fast. So, Steven, what else do you got going on this week?
This week, what do I got going on? Good grief. Let me just bring up the list. There's so much happening. This Sunday, I'm doing a show on the book collection of Robert Heinlein, the science fiction. I'm going to be on there with Colin, Archer Colin from the PJ Maybe and FFSI. It's going to be on FFSI. I'll put a link in the chat.
Excellent.
And then Saturday, Tuesday, I'm doing a review of Iron Skies on FFSI.
Oh, that's this. Oh, God damn it. Okay. Oh, good. Good.
So I'm rewatching that right now. And
Iron Sky is such a fun movie. It's
man.
goofy, but it's brilliant. It's a wonderful social commentary.
It's just everything you could do. It's a Twilight Zone gone out of control for 2 hours. That's really what it amounts to. It's Saturday Night Live writes a Twilight Zone episode for 2 hours. It's absolutely brilliant. Nazis on the dark side of the moon. UFOs have been visiting us from the moon. It's the Nazis all along. It's absolutely brilliant. They come to Earth and get into advertising for the president. I mean, it's meta within meta within meta within
lizard
meta.
people and
It's so fantastic.
Great.
Everybody's spacecraft suddenly becomes armed. The United Nations has all been lying to each other.
Except
North
for Finland.
Korea gets laughed at.
Except for Finland, they didn't bother arming up, so they all shame them for.
All right. So, Shield Wall. Anything going on this week?
No. I don't have a channel or anything.
You're an amazingly self-contained person.
Yeah, I really appreciate you inviting me on these streams to talk about these things.
No, you're great to have on, dude. You should be on more streams.
I mean, I do have a lot to say and I have a lot of knowledge, and I think I'm the same age as you, maybe. But
Ancient.
Yeah,
so good.
All these old movies we're
I know
talking
you and I
about,
treaded a lot of the same ground.
It's not like I surfed the internet to find them. I watched them in the theater or saw them on TV or a third generation VHS tape from it's the third copy of a third copy, so it's all grainy. Yeah, that's my entrance into this. But I really appreciate you coming on. It was great being on with everybody.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. So, Blair to Blair, my favorite wizard, what do you have going on this week?
Nothing. I'm going up north. Going on vacation.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You're traveling like wizards do. Yes.
And then next week, I have no plans. So we'll see.
Well, maybe you do. Maybe you don't.
Oh, I do have one of my favorite movies on Blu-ray coming. The Legend of Hell House.
Oh, with the
Roddy McDowell.
Because there've actually been a couple versions of that film out. Maybe 3.
I don't know. I only know one.
Plus a series on Netflix, I think.
I only care about the movie I saw as a kid. So
right,
the 73.
Cool,
so yeah, that should be coming. That'll be back when I get back. So I'm going to watch that for the Halloween season.
Excellent.
So yeah,
good deal.
Maybe I'll make a video. Well, you never know.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. We got to talk about the undead, vampires versus zombies, and a lot of other stuff in the mix there, because there's always going to be other stuff because we're nerds and we talk about other stuff. So thank you to the panel tonight. Steven for hanging out like always. Shieldwall of Dragons, Blair to Blair, Brandon the anime guy, and Zax for popping on. It was a great show. I had a lot of fun. I think everybody did. And I hope you have a lot of fun rewatching the show. So please like and subscribe, because I'm dying in the interwebs. And we will see you around the internet. Be kind.